What's up, folks? If you can tell by the background, a little irritated about something I saw on my social media feed. Now, I try not to be on my social media too much, but sometimes I can't help myself. But this thing popped up, and yeah, it's from a realtor or a lender. They're always trying to trick people to buy houses, and this was complete nonsense, in my opinion. So let's break this down. What am I talking about? So they're making the argument, oh, you should buy, right? You should buy a house to live in. And I think all you guys know my stance on this. Ultimately, you can invest the money and grow it way more than what they're saying that you could get here. We'll get into the math on this later in the video. I'll whip out the spreadsheet and I'll show you why. But let's just, from a surface level, let's see their argument here. Let's go start on the buy side. Their assumptions, 3.5% interest rate, 30-year mortgage, below on some house here. First off, like this property ain't going to appreciate 5% every year. It ain't gonna happen. Historically, maybe 2 or 3% is a good number to use. And they're assuming that you're paying off the principal. But the difference here, when you're owning rental property, like here, your heart and sweat and tears is paying down the mortgage, and a little piece of that is the principal, which is your equity growth. But the difference between this case and when you're investing, which is not showcased in this little thing right here, the tenant's paying this for you. Right? This is not your heart, sweat, and tears. And in fact, you can buy way more houses, and we'll show you that in a little bit, where multiple 5, 6 families are working to pay this principal off for you. And I think that's what really burns me up. They're always trying to compare this with something that is irrelevant, because what they're trying to do here is age-old like advice is saying rent's throwing money down the tube. Completely not the case, guys. Not true. Yeah, it is if you're one of those people who just takes the money and the down payment that you would have used for this into here, and you blew it on a truck or, I don't know, vacation or whatever those guys spend their money on. But a lot of you guys in Simple Passive Cashflow Nation don't do that stuff. You guys save it, and you guys are the minority. Again, for most people who are really bad with their money, they should probably go buy a house against my advice, because this is ultimately a forced piggy bank, and people need that type of stuff apparently. And I shouldn't talk too badly about it. Most people can't save money, not because they don't make enough, but they don't earmark it for something or put it into a mortgage or have that liability every month disappears. And I'm a victim of this too, to some extent. This is what they're doing is that this is not a good comparison. And they're also not including all the wear and tear on the house. If something breaks, you have to pay it. That's not being included, whereas a renter, you don't really have to worry about it. That's why I like being a renter. Call the landlord. Got something wrong here. In this case, I think they were talking about like a VA loan, which doesn't really apply to most of us. It's cool. If you have a VA loan, you can get almost no money down. But most of us, to buy this house, you would have got to put like a 20% down payment, unless you want to get killed with PMI. So you're talking about 100% of this. Let's just call it 120 grand, okay? So let's move this over to the spreadsheet. This is what this example is not capturing. So the 20% down payment, all right, if I'm renting, I can take this 120 grand and I could buy at 25 grand a piece, 5 houses. 5 houses, folks, 5 families I could buy with this much money. So I could buy these 5 houses. Each of these 5 houses will be bringing in, let's just say, $300 of cash flow every month. And just be conservative, 200 a month. So 5 houses times 200, $1,000 a month. That kind of just keeps going on and on for all these months. So that over 12 months is $12,000. And none of this is included in that little whimsical social media thread and post that gets a whole bunch of likes by people don't even read the damn thing. But that's not the only thing. The tenants are paying down the mortgage on these 5 properties for you, as opposed to the other example, your heart, sweat, and tears, trading time for money is putting into that. So that equity pay down, and I'm just assuming that maybe it's $150 on each property. So $150 times 5 properties, 5 families paying down your mortgage for you, is that much money going to your equity every single month. Appreciation. Now, I'm not going to assume that this thing is going to go up that much every month. Maybe let's just say 1% or no, 2%. We'll go with 2%, which is way less than half of what the other guys thought it was going to be. So 65, that much, say you own that much real estate. Making 100 grand, making this much on appreciation per year. So I want to go divide that by. Okay, so that's how much you're making on the appreciation every single month. But I don't like to include that. To me, simple passive cash flow is all about cash flow. If you get appreciation, cool, that's icing on top of the cake. But for this example, let's just extrapolate this out to be on what's happening on a monthly basis. We're not including any of the tax benefits here. I think that's mostly, we'll just take that out. Obviously, being a landlord or being an investor landlord is going to be advantageous for you in the long run. And anyway, but it's hard to quantify this example. I just wanted to make this real quick and dirty. So this is what's happening in just 1 year, what you're making with the top line here. Oops, could be $1,000. So this is cash flow. This is tenants, equity build up, tenants. And this one is appreciation star, because you can never count on appreciation, right? That's what gamblers do. So if you add all this up, you look at the bottom, $31,000 a year that you're making. And if I compare that with what they say that you're making, so there, you can't add in this because this is you putting in this money. It's 12 grand. This is invalid. No, bad data. And then they're saying they're making 33 grand per year. No way. 5%? You got to be kidding me. It's 66 or 8. Yeah, dude, that's not going to happen. 5% growth every year ain't going to freaking happen. Sorry, my language. And this drives me crazy because this is what these guys like to do. And then this is why you never take financial advice from people who are not financially free. There are all these salesmen for all this stuff, whether it's loans, brokers, realtors, insurance guys. You guys, do the math for yourself. Let's think for yourself. Maybe I'll give them a 3% return per year. That's 20 grand a year on appreciation. And again, appreciation is always asterisk because that's gamblers' method. But still, like in this prudent example, I'm making 31 grand on my money every single year, and it goes way up from that. And this is only making 20 grand a year. And this requires the market to be going up and up and up. And this doesn't have any of the wear and tear, right? This cash flow number right here, this has all my vacancy, repairs, which you guys can get in my analyzer if you go to SimplePassiveCashflow.com/analyzer. Actually, just Google it on my website, you'll find it, but you guys can download the free analyzer in there, but it'll give you all the expenses like the vacancy, repairs, 10% for property managers, because we don't want to deal with all these tenant headaches. We pay professionals to do it for us. It also includes like big capex. So the roof is going to go bad every 20 something years. The HVACs are going to need to replace every 10 years. Big things, you're going to have to repaint the house. None of this is included in any of these numbers on the social media post, but it is in mine. So you could probably make the argument that if this house, which is 666,080, it breaks 1% per year, people are like, dude, I own a house. It costs way more than 6 grand a year to run this thing. Let's just go with it for purpose of it being conservative for my argument. Now you're like barely 13 grand a year. If you bump this up to 2% per year, you're just barely above water. And then, but here in my case, we've got all those expenses baked in. This is like why the rich get richer and the poor who follow the financial advice from people who are not sophisticated in this stuff stay where they're at. The information's all out there, guys. If you want to learn more about this whole argument, go to SimplePassiveCashflow.com/home and learn the numbers. Get the analyzer, SimplePassiveCashflow.com/analyzer. Check out our podcasts. And all right, well, have a great weekend. I'm done ranting. Bye.